When I was 15, my family dumped me like trash to go on a Christmas cruise without me. Said the cabin was too nice to waste on you. My mom threw me a crumpled $20 and snapped, "Don't burn the house down," then drove off laughing with the rest of them. I spent Christmas in silence, eating toast in an empty kitchen. They left me alone for 2 weeks over the holidays. No calls, no messages. I didn't ask why, I just cut them out of my life. Years later, they got a surprise they never saw coming. This morning, my brother sent 11 messages. "What did you do? She won't stop crying, just pick up." Hey everyone, before we dive in, I have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy content like this, please hit the subscribe button. It's free, supports the channel, and ensures you never miss out on amazing videos. Alright, let's get started. She just says, "You know where the food is. Call us if you need anything, but try not to." I ask if they'll be back for Christmas morning. She laughs, says, "It'll be more fun without you complaining." My jaw clenches. I say nothing. She grabs her suitcase, bumps it into my foot, doesn't say sorry. Norman shrugs at me like, "What do you want me to do?" Cassandra actually says, "Sorry, Jet," but in that way where she's not really sorry. Timothy hugs me, but it's quick because Mom's yelling. They're late and Dad's outside honking. Then they're gone. I stand in the doorway, watch them pile into the car. Mom's laughing loud enough I can hear it through the window. The house feels huge after they go. I just kind of drift around, play some games on my phone, scroll TikTok, eat whatever. I thought maybe they'd call, check in, but nope. Nothing. Not that day, not Christmas Eve, not Christmas Day. I end up making toast for dinner because I literally don't know what else to do. The dog's at the kennel, so even he's not there. I sit at the table just listening to the fridge. Every now and then I hear a car outside and think maybe they're back early, but it's never them. On Christmas morning, I go through the motions, open the one present Mom left for me, witch's socks. Not even the kind I like, just plain white ones. There's a card that says, "Maybe next year you'll be less difficult." I throw it in the trash. I try texting Norman just, "Merry Christmas, hope you guys are having fun." He leaves me on read. I scroll through Instagram and see a pic of them on the cruise deck. Everyone's smiling. It gets like 200 likes. Someone in the comments goes, "Aren't you missing a kid?" Mom replies, "Jet's old enough to do his own thing." I don't even bother responding. They come back a few days later, all tanned and loud. Mom's bragging about the food. Cassandra's mad her phone got wet. Norman's got his arm around some girl from the cruise. Timothy's mad he lost his sunglasses. I'm standing in the hallway, arms crossed. Mom sees me, goes, "Oh, you survived." I say, "Yeah, thanks for checking in." She rolls her eyes, says, "Don't start, Jet. No one wants drama." Dad tries to pat my shoulder, but I pull away. He sighs. Norman says nothing. Cassandra asks if I fed her fish. I just walk away. That night, I hear Mom and Dad arguing in the kitchen. She's saying, "Why does he always have to make things hard? He could have just enjoyed the peace and quiet." Dad says, "Maybe we should have brought him. He's still a kid." Mom snaps, "He's always been a problem. You know that." I go to my room, shut my door hard. I don't talk to any of them for the rest of Christmas break. Norman tries to get me to play games, but I ignore him. Cassandra leaves me a note asking for her charger back. Timothy asks if I want to come see a movie, but Mom says no, I should stay home. I start making plans to leave as soon as I can. I'm done being the extra. I'm not family. Not really. They made that pretty clear. I guess that's the end of part 1. I know it sounds wild, but that's exactly how it happened. I never got an apology. Honestly, I never asked for one. I just started counting down the days till I could cut them off. For real. Next part, I'll get into what actually happened after that, and why I really never looked back. It only gets messier. Far update 1. So I guess I'll just jump in again, because honestly it's wild to look back and realize how much just not being wanted at home messes with your head. Like for years people always say stuff like, "Family's family, you'll work it out." But nah, sometimes you just get tired of being the one they drop when it's easy for them. IDK, I kind of always knew I was the odd one out. But after that Christmas, I was just over it. So right after the cruise, just awkward, like dead eyes at the table. Nobody talked about it. Norman kept trying to get me to play games with him, acting like nothing happened. But if I brought up the cruise, he'd just say, "It's not my fault. Ask Mom." So I stopped asking. I started just not being there. I'd eat after everyone, leave early, go to my friends' houses. I didn't even tell anyone what happened. Not really, because who wants to be the kid shaming his own parents? Plus, IDK, people act weird when you tell them your family sucks. They don't believe you, or they make excuses for your parents. So I just stopped sharing. I think the first real boundary moment was maybe spring break. Mom was going off about a beach trip, rattling off names, everyone except me. I asked if I could come this time. She said, "Don't make this about you." Dad mumbled something and left the room. I was like, cool, I'm not asking again. I started spending more time at the skate park, just to stay out as long as possible. When I'd come home, Mom would ask if I was planning to eat her food or just live in her house for free. I snapped back, said, "You left me alone at Christmas. Maybe I should have just moved out." She slapped me. I remember just staring at her. She slammed the fridge and stormed out. After that, I stopped expecting anything. I started saving whatever cash I got from birthdays or random side stuff, just so I could bounce ASAP. I started sleeping with my phone under the pillow just in case. Not because I thought they'd need me, but because I didn't trust them not to lock me out. Sounds paranoid, but when your own mom says you're old enough to be alone for a holiday, you start planning for worst case. Norman never really stood up for me. And TBH, I think he liked being the one Mom actually did stuff for. Cassandra kind of floated, always on her phone, sometimes acting like she cared, but only when it didn't mess with her plans. Timothy was still a kid, but he stopped asking me to hang out after Mom yelled at him for taking my side. Whatever, so a couple years go by. I'm just counting down days till I can leave. I barely talk to anyone at home. Mom still acts like I'm the problem, always telling her friends I'm difficult, never satisfied. She'd talk about me like I wasn't there, even when I was. I remember once she was on the phone to Aunt Harper saying, "Jet just can't let things go. He's so dramatic. I wish he'd just be normal like Nor. Like I'm a problem to solve, not a person." Dad just kept quiet like always. He'd sometimes try to say, "It's hard for your mom. You know she's stressed." But I just walk away. I was done caring. When I finally left, it wasn't some huge dramatic thing. I just packed up my stuff, said bye to Timothy, and left a note for Cassandra. Mom tried to say I was being ungrateful, that I'd never understand how hard it was to be a parent. I said, "You left me alone for Christmas. What else do you want me to say?" She called me selfish. I didn't even look back. Norman texted me like a week later asking if he could borrow my old headphones, and I just left him on read. After that, I made a point not to go home for holidays. I'd get random texts from Mom, sometimes asking for money, sometimes asking if I'd come move boxes or help fix something. I always said I was busy. One time, Norman tried to guilt me into coming home for Thanksgiving, saying Mom was really struggling. I said, "She's got 3 other kids." He left it alone. Cassandra started hitting me up for help with her phone or her laptop, but only when she needed something. Timothy faded out, honestly, and I don't blame him. It's hard to keep up when everyone's just in their own world. The thing is, it wasn't like one big fight. It was just a million little things piling up. Like Mom never remembered my birthday. Dad would forget to include me in group messages. Norman would only call when he wanted something, and if I didn't help, he'd get all passive-aggressive. Once he called me lazy for not coming to help him move. I laughed and hung up. After a while, I stopped feeling guilty. I realized the only time they wanted me around was when I was useful. If I wasn't, I didn't exist. Stuff with my family just kept getting weirder. Honestly, one year, Mom texted me a pic of their Christmas dinner with a caption like, "Wish you were here." But then I saw in the background that my plate wasn't even set. Like, why even bother? Norman got engaged. Didn't even invite me to the family dinner about it. Cassandra had a meltdown over me not lending her cash for a festival. She called me selfish. I told her to get lost. She blocked me for a month, then unblocked me when she needed a ride to the airport. The money thing started getting worse for them a few years ago. Mom lost her side hustle. Dad's retirement tanked. And suddenly, everyone was acting like I was supposed to step up and help out. Norman called asking if I could co-sign for something. I laughed and said, "You left me out of everything. Why would I do that?" He got pissed, said I was holding a grudge. Mom started texting me random guilt trips like, "We're still your family. You need to help." I just stopped responding. I started blocking their numbers when they got too much. Every time I set a boundary, they'd push back. Once, Mom showed up at my place unannounced, banging on the door, yelling at me to let her in. I told her to leave or I'd call someone. She slapped the door and left. Norman texted me after saying I was going to regret it when she was gone. I told him, "I already regret a lot of things, but helping you isn't one of them." I started making sure they couldn't find me if I moved. Changed my number a couple times. Blocked them on every app that mattered. People always ask why I didn't just try harder or forgive and forget. But why should I? I learned early that I was never going to be the favorite, never going to be the one they wanted at the table. I stopped pretending. When people show you who they are, you believe it. My mom always treated me like a burden because I wasn't easy to control, because I wouldn't just play along. Norman liked being the center. Cassandra liked being babied. Timothy just wanted peace. They all had a role, I was just the extra. So I left. The last straw was probably when Norman tried to use my info for something without asking. I found out because I got a bill in the mail with his name on it, but my address. I called him. He tried to play dumb, then said, "Well, you never answer your phone. I had to do something." I told him if he ever did it again, I'd make sure he regretted it. He hung up. Mom called to yell at me. I told her I was done. I blocked her number for a year. So yeah, now it's just me. I have friends. I have my own thing. I don't go back. Not for holidays, not for birthdays, not for anything. Sometimes people ask if I miss them. I say, miss what? Being left out? Being the backup plan? Nah, I'm good. I just focus on me now. And if they ever need something, they know where to find someone else. But here's where it gets interesting. Stuff's about to get real for them. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not even sorry. Next part, I'll get into how I made sure they finally felt what it's like to be left out. For real. I'm not the one waiting by the phone anymore. Stay tuned. You'll want to see what comes next. Update 2. So I guess if you've made it this far, you probably know I didn't just drift off and go full therapy mode or whatever. Nah. People always act like if you set boundaries, you're supposed to find peace or something. But sometimes it just makes you see how much BS you put up with for years. TBH, I started planning my own payback way before things got bad for them. I don't let stuff go, and they always thought they could just dump it on me and I'd roll over. Not anymore. The first weird moment that really set me off was when Norman tried to text me like nothing happened. This was after he tried to use my info for his own bills, remember? He sends me this weak message like, "Hey, we should get lunch and catch up." I just left him on read for like 3 days. Then Mom sends this group text like, "Family isn't about keeping score." I replied, "Family isn't about leaving your kid alone for Christmas either." She calls me dramatic, says I'm embarrassing her. I blocked her again. Norman tried calling me like 5 times. I just ignored it. Then they start getting desperate. I started hearing from random people, Cassandra's friends, even some old neighbors, saying, "Hey, your mom says you're ignoring her. Is everything okay?" Like, what? Don't drag other people into this. So I started making it clear I was done being the backup plan. Anytime they asked for help with something, I said no. Norman wanted me to help him move again. I told him to hire someone. Cassandra asked if I could cover her phone bill. I said, "Pay it yourself." Timothy wanted to crash at my place when he had a fight with Mom, but all I said was, "Figure it out. That's what I had to do, right?" And here's where it gets more real. Mom started having money problems. She'd always lived like she was on a reality show, buying random crap, acting like she'd never have to worry. Dad's retirement tanked, so they started selling stuff off. Mom texted me about co-signing a loan. I laughed and sent her a screenshot of her old message about me being old enough to do things alone. She called me, left this long rant on my voicemail about how I was ruining the family's future. I just saved it for laughs. They tried playing the guilt card hard. Norman said, "You know Mom's not well, you need to help." I said, "Maybe if you didn't always act like I didn't exist, you'd have backup." Cassandra tried the tears. Said she was scared for Mom. I said, "Ask Mom why she left me alone for Christmas." They gave up for a while, but I wanted more. I wanted them to actually feel it, not just whine. So I started doing the small things that would really get under their skin. First, there was this old family group chat Mom used for all the important updates, like who's bringing what for holidays or when to pay bills for shared stuff like the storage unit with our old things. I left the group one day after Mom sent a pic of them at dinner without me again, with a caption about, "Wishing Jet was here. Too bad he's always so busy." I replied, "I'm only busy because you made it clear I'm not needed." Then I left. Norman tried to add me back. I declined. The storage unit was in my name. They'd always just used it because I was the only one who could get the cheap deal. I changed the code, took my stuff out, and told them they had 30 days to get theirs, or it was going in the trash. Mom freaked out, sent like a dozen texts. Norman called me yelling. Cassandra tried to get her boyfriend to threaten me. I told them all, "Pay me the back rent you owe or I'm tossing it." Norman tried to show up at my place. I told him if he ever did that again, I'd get someone involved. He backed off. A week later, Mom paid the back rent, but with a nasty note about how family shouldn't be about money. I sent back, "Family shouldn't be about dumping your kid." She slammed the door when they came for their stuff. I started really leaning into it. After that, I made sure if they ever needed a ride or help with tech or anything else, I let them wait. Once, Norman called me at 2 a.m. because his car broke down on the highway. I answered, said, "Call Cassandra." He hung up. Cassandra tried to guilt me into helping her with her taxes. I said, "I'm not your accountant. Figure it out." Mom tried to show up at my apartment again, yelling in the hallway. I told her to leave. The neighbors heard, and she got embarrassed, but dead serious. One time, Timothy actually pushed me when I refused to give him gas money. I pushed him back. He stormed out, slammed the elevator door. Mom called, yelling about how I was tearing the family apart. I told her the family was never together unless you needed something. They started getting more and more desperate. Cassandra actually called me crying one night because she couldn't pay her rent and Mom wouldn't help her. I said, "Sell your old phone or ask Norman." She called me an ass and hung up. Norman tried to get me to sign off on some paperwork. Dad and I refused. He got so pissed he slammed his hand on my table and said, "You're gonna regret this, Jet." I just laughed and told him to get lost. He left, slammed the door. Then came the big one. Mom tried to sell some old family jewelry that she'd always promised was for the kids. She wanted my signature to split up the money. I said, "Funny how I'm family now when you need something." She got red in the face, stormed out, slapped the wall on her way. A week later, Norman texted me a pic of Mom crying, saying, "You're breaking her heart." I said, maybe she should have thought of that before she left me behind. He blocked me for a month. I started making it clear to everyone that if they wanted to talk, it wasn't going to be on their terms. No more helping out, no more playing nice. If they wanted something, it was a hard no. I wasn't nasty about it. I just stopped pretending. Mom finally started realizing I wasn't going to be the fixer anymore. She tried apologizing once, but it was more like, "Sorry you feel that way." I said, "Save it." She tried hugging me at a family event. I stepped back. Norman rolled his eyes. Cassandra muttered something about me always needing drama. Timothy just looked at the floor. The last straw was when Norman tried to use my name again for a credit app. I found out, called him, said if he ever did it again, I'd make sure he couldn't get a loan anywhere. He tried to push me. I shoved him off. Mom screamed at us both. I just grabbed my bag and left. I changed every password, checked my credit, locked down everything. So yeah, I made sure every time they thought about me, it was with regret. No more help, no more rides, no more covering for their messes. Every time they tried to guilt me, I just shut it down. When they tried to use me for money, I made them pay back every cent or they got nothing. I stopped being the fallback and they hated it. I even sold my share of some old family junk just to pay off my own bills. Didn't tell them till it was done. Mom freaked. Norman sent me like 20 texts. Cassandra blocked me again. The best part? People started noticing. Old friends of the family would ask why I wasn't around. Mom would make up stories, but people could tell. Norman got pissed when no one showed up for his birthday because I wasn't there. Cassandra stopped getting help from her friends because I told them the truth. Timothy just faded out. Now they're all just left with each other. No more scapegoat, no more fixer, no more backup plan. I'm not done yet either. Next part's where it really hits them. Like for real. Trust, you're gonna want to see how this ends. Final update. So this is where it actually goes down. Like I know a lot of people probably thought I just ghosted my family and moved on. But nah, I'm not the type to just fade out and let people pretend nothing happened. If you've read the first 3 parts, you know I didn't just want distance. I wanted them to finally feel what they put me through. Not just a little inconvenience, but that real feeling of being iced out. Embarrassed, scrambling, the whole mess. And I finally found the perfect way to do it. The weird thing is, it started so normal. Last week, Norman texted me like nothing had happened, acting all chill, asking if I'd come to this family thing for Dad's birthday. Like, bro, you really think I'm gonna show up just to sit there and pretend we're good? I left him on read again. Then, 2 days ago, Mom called 3 times in a row. Didn't leave a message. I blocked her again. I decay what it is with her. It's like she thinks if she just keeps calling, I'll cave. Then I got this email, totally bland, from some lawyer's office. Not even a real lawyer, just one of those cheap online things. Like, please sign this so your mom can sell a bunch of family assets. Turns out she wanted to cash out the old lake lot my grandparents left us. The only thing of value that the whole family had their name on. She couldn't do it without my signature, because legally all the kids had to sign. Wild. House. Suddenly I'm family again, right? I didn't even respond. Norman tried to call me about it. Just left a bunch of voicemails saying I was ruining everything, Mom was falling apart, all that. I didn't care. So I started planning. I took out all my old paperwork, figured out exactly what I owned a piece of, what I could block, what I could sell. I dug up every email, every group chat, every old text chain. I made sure everything I had a piece of, I locked down. Changed the passwords on the old shared photo drive. Pulled my name off the utilities at the house, so now it was all under Mom's name. Let her pay those late fees for once. Sent emails to the storage place and told them I wasn't responsible for anything left in the unit. Called the bank about the joint account Mom used for her family emergencies and took my name off. I even called the tax office and told them to send all future mail to Mom's address, not mine. No more bailing them out, no more covering up their messes. The group chat started blowing up. First Norman, then Cassandra, then Mom, all freaking out, saying I was being petty, I was taking food out of their mouths, I was going to ruin Christmas. I just replied, "Welcome to my world." Mom called screaming. I hung up. Cassandra sent this long story about how she always looked up to me, and I was destroying everything. I texted back, "You mean like you all destroyed me when you left me alone that Christmas?" Crickets. Here's where it gets good. So the lake lot, right? It's not just sentimental. It's the only thing that could dig them out of the money hole they're in. I knew it. They knew it. And I had all the leverage. Mom even tried to play nice, like, "Let's meet up and talk, Jet." "You're still my son," I said. "You only remember that when you need something." She got quiet, then said some nasty stuff about me being cold. I said, "I learned from the best." She slammed the phone down. I got calls from Norman again and again, getting more pissed each time. One night he showed up at my place, yelling at the front door, pounding on it, saying I was ruining Mom's health, that she cried every night. I told him, "You leave or I'm calling the cops for trespassing." He tried to push past me, so I shoved him back out the door. He called me an ass, said I was dead to him. I said, "Good, now you know how it feels." Slammed the door, didn't hear from him for a day. Then yesterday, the lawyer emailed again, this time saying they couldn't move forward unless I signed. I replied, "Not interested in helping people who never helped me." Norman texted begging. Cassandra called crying. I just muted them all. Mom tried one last time, left a voicemail saying she forgave me for everything. I laughed so hard I almost dropped my phone. And then this morning, it happened. Woke up to 11 messages from Norman, all in a row, all caps, first saying, "What did you do?" Then, "She won't stop crying." Then, "Just pick up the phone, please. She's not eating. She's losing it. You don't have to do this. Why are you being like this? Just sign the damn paper. What is wrong with you? Please, I'm begging you. Just call her. Please." I didn't answer. I sat there just staring at my phone. Not gonna lie, part of me wondered if I should feel bad. But then I thought about that night. 15, eating cold toast alone. Not even a text. I thought about every time they left me out, every time I was just the extra, the backup, the afterthought. Nah, I'm not giving in. I put the phone on silent. So yeah, that's where I left it. I didn't pick up, I didn't call back, I didn't sign. Let them figure it out, just like I had to. I know people will say, family's family, you should help, but where was that energy when I was a kid? Where was family when they left me for dead for a week and laughed about it? Now they get to sit with it. Let them scramble. Let them see how it feels to have the one person you thought would always bail you out finally say, "Nah, you're on your own." Honestly, I don't care if they're mad or if Mom's crying or if Norman never speaks to me again. I'm not the one eating cold toast alone anymore. They are. So that's it. I finally got my Christmas. Not the one I wanted, but the one they deserved. Like today's story, a super thanks helps me keep bringing you the best daily content. Your support means I can keep doing what I love,